Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A. Make sure you're subscribed anywhere you get podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher. We're all there. And follow the show as well at MLU Pod, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Today we have Julia Steiner, lead singer of the Chicago band Ratboys, and we'll talk all about their phenomenal new album, Printer's Devil, their live show on Twitch, meeting Bernie Sanders, and almost playing with Wilco. Without further ado, let's bring in Julia Steiner right here on My Little Underground. Julia from Ratboys, welcome. How are you?
Hey, thanks, Peter. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. I watched your Twitch show last night, the virtual Ratboys tour. Highly entertaining.
That's the one. Thanks for watching. It was fun.
Yeah, it was very, very unique. The green screen was awesome. You know, you went to Rome last night. How was your trip to Rome?
We did. It was great. It was fun. Yeah, we I've been wanting to get back to Rome for a long time. I got to visit Dave there when he lived there in 2013. But yeah, 2020's the time to virtually travel, you know?
And then you proceeded to go 500 years in the future to Chrome.
Yes.
Now, how was that experience? What was different from between the 500 years?
Not much, except the Pantheon was chrome, and everything, all the buildings are chrome in the future, as we found out. Very astute. I mean, SpongeBob they predicted it correctly. So it was awesome. I mean, we've been thinking for a while about kind of bending the rules of time on the show, like playing in a future location, playing like far in the past. So it was cool to test that out. I think we're going to try it again in a different way eventually.
So is the Leaning Tower of Pisa still leaning, or did it fully collapse, or is it upright in the future?
I think it's just fully chromed out and it's still leaning, if I had to guess, but I don't know for sure.
And I will say, like, the one thing I do love about your show, the Twitch show, is that it looks like a talk show. You know, the aesthetic is great, and it looks kind of like awkward, like a regular public access television show would look like, in the best way possible.
Yeah, no, thanks. That's kind of the vibe we're going for. Like, at the end of the day, it's true. Like, it's a totally DIY effort. Like, you know, to be honest, we're just down in our basement. We got this green screen where, you know, we have pretty low key, extremely low budget equipment. And so it's just fun to use what we have. And we're pretty much just like hanging out on the internet. It's nice. I mean, we play some songs from time to time, but it's cool to just have a space to like connect with people and just be ourselves, and I don't know, get to just check in on how people are doing and check in with each other, because I feel like it's important to just be reflecting constantly on how you're feeling, and making sure that other people are doing okay too, because I don't know, shit can be a little scary and like heavy sometimes, so it's nice to have a little bit of lightness.
Yeah, you know, speaking of checking in, I'm glad you brought that up. You checked in on the Beths all the way from Auckland, New Zealand, and I think that is absolutely remarkable, because typically you'd be on tour and you would have a band friend with you to open for you or whatever. And I think that's remarkable that you would, you know, bring another band into your rat cave. I love it. And it kind of adds to, you know, the creative space, and just, again, being creative when you're not being your actual creative selves performing in front of people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, for us, it's just kind of a way to stay in touch with our friends and people that we are like huge fans of. We had Sarah from Illuminati Hotties on the show last week.
Yeah.
We've had a couple other guests who we really love and respect, like Greg from Cheekface was on the show, and our friend Namdi from here in Chicago was on the show too. And so it's nice because, like, I don't know, and with the Beths specifically, they just announced a new record. It's going to be so good. And we were going to see them on our actual tour, which got moved. But we were playing in Pittsburgh on the same night. it was just like a coincidence. But we were hoping and planning to get to like hang out in person that night when we were both in Pittsburgh. But this was definitely the next best thing, and it's just so cool to get to talk to someone who's on the other side of the world entirely, and just it felt like we were in the same room together. So it was really cool.
Yeah, and two artists kind of going through the a similar thing right now with everything happening. I think it's great to have someone you can relate to, and again, like you said, just to check in, see how you're doing. And I thought it was really well done. And you say it's DIY, yeah, it's DIY, but it really is professional because number one, you have an idea, you guys have an idea of where to go. You have a direction, and it's great. It's better than I would say it's better than some TV shows that are on right now. It's that entertaining.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
extremely kind compliment. I hadn't even thought of that. We're just having fun.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. And speaking of sad times with COVID and everything, how are you doing individually, or is Rap Boys? How have you've been affected either personally or creatively throughout all this?
Um, well, the main thing that changed for us was obviously like every other band on Earth, we had to reschedule a lot of tour dates. So that was like the big first domino kind of that's changed our lives for the time being. So yeah, we had like 3 months of touring planned, and that's kind of all just uh, like in flux now. We rescheduled a lot of it for the fall, but it's even kind of uncertain as of now whether it'll be safe to even tour and play shows in the fall. So, and especially state by state, who knows? Like the idea of planning logistics around different state uh directives and stuff is daunting. So, but I mean, like on a personal level, we're doing okay, I think. Dave's cousin has the virus. He's, in quarantine. Luckily, the rest of our families are all safe. And Dave and Sean and I are lucky because we all live together. And so we're able to do the show together and kind of we keep in touch. Obviously, we see each other all the time. But Marcus lives across town, and we try to, keep in touch a lot in our group chat and just share news and, like, I don't know, just check in on each other, like I said before, because it's wild how you can feel so differently from one day to the next, just about the future and how things are, like your feelings on how things might you know look 6 months from now. But it's impossible to know.
How's Dave's cousin doing?
He's good, I think. He works in the jail, the Cook County jail, and so he and his girlfriend actually both work there. And there's been like a massive outbreak there. It's really bad. But he has the virus. He's like stable, and I mean, I'm sure he's not like happy. He's probably feeling sick, but he's at home in quarantine at their house. But she actually, his partner, uh, doesn't have the virus, and so she's kind of trying to nurse him while also still working and while also trying to not get the virus from him. So it's just crazy. I'm sure there are like there's tens of thousands of people probably in that same situation right now. It's just so tricky. So we're just sending love to them, and I have faith that they'll get through it okay.
You guys all living together, is there any moments where you feel like, oh man, I'm getting a little stir crazy, and if so, like, how do you deal with that?
Um, a little bit, yeah. I'm naturally a pretty like I like to stay at home when we're home, and so I'm doing okay. We're lucky because the house that we live with two other people as well. So there's five of us here, and it's kind of out in almost a suburban area of the Chicago, uh, zone. So it's like our house is a decent size. Like we're able, like our room is good. We have the basement area. We have a small backyard, and so I feel like there's enough space for us to all kind of live together and not be on top of each other. And it's a very quiet neighborhood, so we take walks and stuff like that. But it's it's definitely a new normal right now, but we're doing all right.
That's good. With Bandcamp, this is also great, at least for artists. They're
Yeah.
doing a monthly, fee waiver thing, which is absolutely incredible. And I think the last wave, I think in early May, the first week, $7.1 million went to artists and labels. And how were did that is that a good thing for Ratboys? And yeah.
It's definitely a good thing for us. It's a good thing for every artist who has music on Bandcamp. That is just them doing that is just a huge favor. It's like a huge handshake because or like pat on the back because it's like it's an opportunity for people to support you directly and it's cool too because it kind of incentivizes people to put up little extras on Bandcamp. Like we put up a couple demos. I think they're actually still up there. I haven't taken them down, but people have been putting up demos and like I've seen a lot of really cool comps that are benefiting charities directly with like new music. So I mean, it just there's nothing bad that comes out of that situation. It's all positive. So we're grateful to them. We've been on Bandcamp was where we first put our music when we decided to put our music on the internet back in 2011. So we've been fans for a long time, and it's nice that they're continuing to support artists and growing on their end too.
Yeah, and I went through the your Bandcamp last Friday or whenever it was, and well, yeah, it was it was early May, the first Friday. Um, a lot of stuff was sold out. Some of your merch was. I mean, yeah, there was so many. Like, it seems like so many people like love you guys. So it's like, what can I get? And if that's not, what I mean, sold out, but I guess I'll take another deep dive to see what's available that I want.
Yeah, totally. We need to get we don't actually stock that stuff top shelf, our label
Yeah.
does. And so I think I have a feeling there's more stock and we just need to update the actual Bandcamp. We have a ton of records in our basement that we like bought to sell on tour, but of course now we can't. And so, if anyone, and we have a bit of merch too, like shirts and stuff we made for tour. So the easiest way to buy merch from us is just to email us and then I can let you know what we got because we
Will
got some
do.
stuff.
Will
Yeah.
do. That was actually my next question. Like, outside of Bandcamp and going through Top Shelf, is there any other way that we can support Rap Boys directly, so we know that everything is going to you?
Um, yeah, I mean, we have a Venmo, and like PayPal. We advertise both of those on the show. That money goes directly to us, just straight into our bank account. So that's really helpful. Other than that, like it feels it's hard to ask people for money, like especially like just more than once, like habitually, because there is no end in sight really to this for bands, and like so many people are struggling to make ends meet. And so, and like we're doing okay. We're not really spending money right now because we're just home, but we're trying to recoup like money that we would have made on tour. So it's kind of hard. It's like abstract almost, but I mean at the end of the day, it's money, so it's what keeps us going. We're gonna need to buy a new van at some point soon, but yeah, I mean Bandcamp's a great way, and yeah, watching our show and if you feel like tipping us a couple bucks, that's always very appreciated.
Yeah, I mean the chat last night was crazy, was unbelievable. I'm surprised you guys even had the time to stop and like not reply, but to see what people were saying, which is unbelievable. I could have cursed you out and you probably wouldn't have known.
Well, we would have, because the way it works is we have a system where like Sean, who is our bass player,
Yeah.
he is like moderating the chat, and so he's in there the whole time and like looking at everyone's comments and replying, and so that's like his full time job is to be in the chat and seeing what's going on. So Dave and I wouldn't know, and if he didn't tell us, then we would never know. But he would see it.
Damn, now I gotta watch what I say in that chat.
Yeah, man, just let it fly. It's all
Yeah.
good.
So, what artists do you know that has stuff on Bandcamp that we should support and buy stuff from? And do you know of any artists that have stuff on Bandcamp? You can include yourself too, that have stuff that's exclusively for Bandcamp that you can't get anywhere.
Hmm. Well, I mean, I will say, like, pretty much every band that is, at least every indie band is on Bandcamp. They should be, and most, pretty much all of them are. So like, if you love a band or you just discovered one today, you should. That's the first thing you should Google is their name plus Bandcamp, and because so many people do have exclusive stuff on there. Like I know Illuminati Hotties Sarah, who we had on the show last week. She has a few songs that are on Bandcamp that aren't on Spotify, and so like downloading those is always awesome. I saw that Lucy Dacus put like some cool music up there, like a, I don't remember if it was a demo or like like a B-side. She put something cool on Bandcamp. Um, our friend Namdi, who's on the show, just put out a really good record called Brat, and that's on Bandcamp. And a lot of his like back catalog is all on Bandcamp, but I'm not sure that it's all on Spotify. So that's definitely worth checking out because he's put out like a dozen records and they're all insanely good. So Namdi is Nnamdi is the best. So you should definitely check him out if you're listening.
So I want to go back to the Ratboys virtual tour on Twitch. So what was the initial inspiration for this show? Did you think of this before everything happened with COVID, or it was just a spur of the moment kind of thing?
It was pretty spur of the moment. Like I think it was like March 12th or something that we made the call to suspend our tour for the time being. And so right around then, we were just thinking of ways that we could like stay in touch and do live streams. And I don't remember exactly how the thought came about, but Sean had this green screen already. He used it to make a music video a few years ago. And so it's like small, but it works really well for what we need. And so um, the like concept of playing in front of a green screen and, you know, virtually playing in a different place every night and like the name kind of all popped into my head really quickly. And it was funny. Like I got on a call with like a few different conversations with different people in Chicago and all over the place about like banding together to help with like to make a show together or something. And I suggested the name a couple times and the idea, and everyone was kind of already had their own thing planned or just had like different ideas, and so it didn't really catch on with anyone. And I was like, well, we could just use this for our own thing, I guess. And yeah, it's worked out nice. And Twitch is kind of a cool place because I don't think many musicians were using it before, or at least if they were, I didn't have any, like I didn't know about it at all. And so it's fun to kind of try something different and tread some new ground for us because yeah, it's totally new for us. So it's fun.
Would you continue this after this outbreak kind of, secedes, for lack of a better term?
Maybe, yeah. We've talked about it. I think we've talked about definitely bringing it back to do like announcements. Like for our next record, we could like do a show where we like premiere a song on the show or something, like make it kind of not exclusive at all, but just like a new channel to like make kind of a special event or something that we could like do ourselves at home. We've also talked about like doing kind of different, like an offshoot where we stream video games, which is what Twitch is known for. Like that's where, where it started, like why it exists. Different video games though, and like maybe doing tournaments involving like other musicians and stuff. So I feel like that kind of stuff would be so fun and easy to do when we're not on tour. Just like hopefully when things are maybe not back to normal, but when we're able to have that same life balance of touring and being home and then touring. But when we're home, it'd be cool to, I don't know, stay on Twitch and not just like, close the door on this audience that we have now, because it's fun to keep trying to grow it and try new things. So we'll see. Short answer is yes, hopefully.
Yeah, I think you definitely should. I'm not a music manager or anything like that, but watching the last two, I'm thinking, wow, like this is, because I'm watching this, I'm thinking it's like I'm hanging out with Ratboys. You know what I mean? Like when you go to a show and you talk to the artists, in between sets or after the show, it's kind of like that, like an extended version of that. and I think it's a great way to connect with you and to really, because when I listened to Printer's Devil again this morning, and I love the album listening to it initially, but after watching you guys on Twitch, I kind of like know who you guys are more, and it kind of just elevated my appreciation for your music. And when you did that version of Tixis last night, I was like, wow, like I loved the song before, but now I love it like 30 times more. But
That's
speaking
nice
of
of you. Thank you.
yeah. And I'm glad you brought up video games because I know you're a SpongeBob fan. Are you aware of the Battle for Bikini Bottom remaster that's coming out next month?
No, I've never. The only SpongeBob video game I've ever played was for PC, and I was like a young child, so I'm totally out of the loop. So what is it?
Oh my god! Like it's a game that you're a SpongeBob fan. You have to play it. It came out like 15, 16 years ago for like PlayStation, PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. It's incredible, so great. And
Nice.
the only drawback of the game is the voice actor for Mr. Krabs is not in the game. So they use a different voice for Mr. Krabs. I think it's a game that you should think about trying for your eventual video game Ratboys stream. That's should happen.
That would be sick. Yeah, I we actually have a GameCube too. So maybe I could maybe yeah, check out what the old copy's about or the new game too. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the new game's just a remaster of the other one, so I'm sure you can find I still have my copy for PS2, so I'm sure you can find a version of it for GameCube. Did you ever?
Got it.
Did you? So the first SpongeBob movie, they made a game for that. That you have to try out too. It's for GameCube as well, PlayStation,
Cool.
Xbox, and all that stuff. Yeah, definitely try that out. Did you?
Sick.
Did you like the last SpongeBob movie, Sponge Out of Water?
I haven't seen it. I've only seen the one the one with Scarlett Johansson and the dude from Arrested Development. I like the main like the first one.
Yeah,
That's my I don't know. I'm a little wary of the new ones. Was it good? Was it funny?
I saw it one time. It was okay, but the first one is yeah, that's the one to watch
The
again.
first
That it
one's
has
really
more replay.
funny.
Yep, it has a lot of replay value to it, and it's the jokes still hold up. I think.
And it's like deeply emotional. The climax of the
Yeah,
movie is really, really fucked up.
it's like
Awesome. When they like, I don't know, it kind of reminded me of well, Toy Story 3 came after, but Toy Story 3 and SpongeBob, the first SpongeBob movie, have that in common where the characters, not to spoil it for anyone, but when they kind of like are resigned to their fate and they like accept the fact that they're dying, like that death is near. It's so so dark and really sad. But then of course there's a happy ending. But yeah, that movie is amazing. It gets me.
I just love. It was just a tale of SpongeBob and Patrick just trying to find their masculinity. It's great.
Gotta get that crown, man. Gotta get to Shell City.
Yeah,
Save the day.
exactly. Did you ever? I mean, there was a musical too. I don't know if
Yeah.
it reach Chicago. I know it was here in New York, but
Good question. I've actually never seen. I haven't gone to see like a live musical performance in Chicago ever. I think so. I'm not sure. I saw a lot of pictures of that though when I was searching for Google Images stuff for the show, like little SpongeBob's to put on our screen and stuff. I saw some pictures of the musical. It seems pretty wild, very colorful.
yeah, I don't know. I think SpongeBob. The integrity of SpongeBob is an animated figure. I don't want to see it done live
Yeah,
action. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. It seems
So
a little iffy to me, but
yeah.
I don't mean to be. I don't mean to be like a prude, like hipster SpongeBob fan. I'm open to it, but we'll see.
I know you're also a baseball fan as well. So would you watch baseball without fans if they brought it back?
Yeah, we have been. We've been watching Korean baseball, which has been on ESPN. Um, Sean and I are both big sports fans, and we've been just desperate for any like sports to watch because I mean, it's baseball season right now. Like we should be watching baseball. It feels weird. I will say I didn't really grow up as a baseball fan. I was casual and like very separate because in Kentucky there wasn't any baseball team, at least a major league team, and so since I've moved to Chicago like 5.5 years ago, it's been a huge part of my life, and it's been so fun. Every spring and summer to enjoy that. And so, Yeah, we've been watching the Korean baseball on ESPN. That doesn't have fans. It actually has a few American players. Like last night, Tyler Saladino from the White Sox is I think on the Samsung Tigers, and that was wild to see him, uh, mustache and all. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, incredibly interesting to see how American sports re-enter. It's I honestly have no idea what it's going to look like. I hope it happens in a way that's safe for everybody. I will be watching when it comes back for sure.
How is it without fans? What's the atmosphere like?
It's like totally fine, except ESPN was doing this thing where they like were kind of running an interview on the side. And so they like the game was like taking up maybe 75% of the screen. And then on the other side, there was like two people interviewing someone else, and their faces were all there. Like, they were all like on Skype or whatever. And it was really distracting. I kind of like they weren't commentating on the game. They were just like interviewing someone. I was like, I don't know. I feel like if they had normal commentary and they just treated it like a normal game, but fans weren't there, it would be fine. I hope that's what happens when the major leagues come back.
Are you aware of how the White Sox are kind of handling, their approach to all this? Like, are they? Do you know if they're thinking about, doing what they're doing internationally, having baseball without fans? That's sort of a conversation, at least in New York, but I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah.
I think I think all the teams are going to have to agree on it together. It's going to be like an MLB decision. But yeah, I think the latest thing I've heard is that they're all going to come back in June, and it'll just be a shortened season. There were some interesting and everyone would play in their home city, and they would schedule it in a way where there would be less travel and um, like no overlap with like teams playing in the same stadium or things like that. I guess actually in baseball it doesn't apply. I can't remember. Every day this changes. Like I listen to podcasts about sports, and every day it's kind of a new outlook and a new plan. So God, I really don't know what's going to happen. But the White Sox and the Cubs and everyone are going to have to work together because I don't think it's not like one team can decide what they're going to do and then just hope it happens. Everyone has to be on the same plan.
Right. And then I was listening to, on the radio last week, and they were saying like the biggest thing with baseball is the gate. So even if they they start a season with no fans, it's just like financially it's going to be kind of strange. But it's all about public health at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, as much as people would choose to go to a baseball game instead of staying safe or minimizing risk, it's not safe to allow people to make that choice for themselves. So, uh, we'll just I'm fine with no fans. I know the players might not be fine with it. They're going to take a pay cut, but it is what it is. It's
Yeah.
less money is better than no baseball. I would think. But I'm not a player. I don't know. I don't know how they feel.
Yeah, right, exactly. I want to talk about the very interesting feature that Chicago Reader did on you guys, and it was called, for people who want to look it up, Ratboys Forced Off the Road But Still on the Rails. And a few takeaways from this is you played a Bernie Sanders rally. How was that?
Yeah, man, that was really awesome. That was back in January, which feels like truly 10,000 years ago. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was January 10th, I think. But anyways, it was really really cool. I had never been to a political rally like that. We have so often been on the road uh, during like the height of election season. Like in 2016, we were just out all the time. So it was really cool to even get to go to one, and then to get to play and to get to meet Senator Sanders really briefly was just, a huge privilege. It was so cool. His staff was super nice. It was a very small operation, incredibly DIY, which I really was amazed by and respected. So yeah, it was just cool to be kind of in that world for a day.
How did that come about? How did you get to play his rally?
Um, it was kind of just a small world scenario where he has a person on his staff that books. Well, I guess this is all past tense because he's out of the race. But he had someone working for him who plays in punk bands and stuff. Who we kind of knew just from playing shows together and festivals together and things like that. So um, originally, our that person contacted our drummer Marcus's other band, Pet Symmetry, about playing a rally, which they did back in November of last year. And at that rally, Marcus, good job, Marcus, was like, "Hey, I play in another band, and he was like, remember these guys? Like, I play in this band now, and they'd love to play." And so, yeah, Marcus kind of slid our name under the door too, and yeah, they got in touch, and um, it was really cool. We played as a two piece just because Sean is a political journalist in his non band time. And so didn't want to put him in a tough place by asking him to play a political rally. So, uh, yeah, Dave and I just played the two of us, and it was so cool. It was cool to know that we were like, that we kind of had a mutual friend with Bernie. It's really sick.
What was he like when you met him?
He was really kind of quiet. It was awesome. I don't know if I expected him to be like bombastic and, like kind of not angry, but just very, he has a lot of energy when he speaks and like it's very commanding presence almost. But in a way where you could tell that he really cares. It's different than any other politician who's kind of like yelling at you. It doesn't feel like that at all. But then when he was in the room with, us and then like all of his volunteers, it was like kind of like still a big group but like a smaller group of people that he came to greet, and he was really soft spoken and very like, I got to shake his hand. It's like a firm handshake but very like not like an asshole handshake, not like aggressive, I don't know, just firm but like comforting. It sounds weird,
An
but
asshole handshake?
no, not an asshole
Yeah,
handshake.
I know. Just that
Not.
concept is just very just
Oh,
interesting.
dude, have you seen videos of Trump shaking people's hands? It's awful. He like pulls them toward him and like fucking grabs on. Like it's awful.
That's
It
actually a
just
nonverbal thing with men.
absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
an
just assertion of
intimidation
power.
tactic.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and so it was just cool. I definitely didn't expect him to do anything like that, but it was reassuring to know that even in like a small gesture like that, to someone he does not know at all and probably would, does not remember me, someone he'd never meet again. It was just like a very uh like soothing thing to experience. So it was great. I am forever grateful that we got to do that. This year has been insane. 2020 started out with that and then put out our record and now we're home. But you know, I I'll always have that memory. So cool.
And the one thing that's also kind of interesting is that you were supposed to play with Wilco. Did you already play with them, or this would have been the
No.
first time you would have played with them?
Oh yeah, that would have been the first time. They're like my favorite band. So that was insane. Like so cool to be on their radar and to be invited to play with them. But then of course those shows just got canceled. Like officially they're not rescheduling them. So I hope that someday in the future they'll remember us and we'll get asked to play again. But even just getting invited was really cool. And I met Jeff Tweedy. His son is a friend of mine and a great musician here in Chicago. So I mean that was cool in itself just to meet him. But yeah, those shows they were gonna be pretty cool. But I mean I've gotten to see them a couple times and they're just a great live band. I hope to get to see them again soon.
You should ask if Tweedy would come on your Twitch show. That would be interesting.
That would be fucking dope. They do. The Tweety family does a really great show on Instagram every night, which I like applaud them for that. It's so consistent and so comforting too. It's just their family. Like it's kind of, I don't know, what we're doing is aspiring to that in a certain sense because watching their show, it just feels like you're like hanging with their family. It feels like you're kind of like a part of their family almost. And so it's it's just incredibly comforting and reassuring to watch them. So that's every night on Instagram. On I think it's Susie Tweedy's Instagram, Stuff in Our House is what it's called.
That's incredible. You know, it's kind of like what you guys are doing, and it just I'm just picturing that Chicago. You know, you have the legends, Wilco. You know, the past, and we have the future, Ratboys. It would just been an awesome like passing of the torch kind of moment, which is great. You know, it'll happen
Yeah.
again. Don't worry.
It's the same. So our friend Namdi, who I talked about
Yeah.
earlier, got booked to do some shows with Wilco as well, and he's from Chicago too. And so, yeah, it would have been a cool like crossover just to be on the same bill as them would be amazing. But and Namdi's shows are with Wilco and Slater Kinney, which
Wow.
is amazing, and those are scheduled for August, and it's impossible to know whether those will even happen. And hopefully, those. I mean, you would expect those to be rescheduled. So. Uh, Everyone keep an eye out for that in the future. Who knows?
So I want to talk about your brand new album, Printer's Devil. It's
Yeah.
probably your best album. You've probably been told, you know, that a bunch of times. It is I think it's incredible. I think it's just a culmination of where you've been and where you're at right now. And it's just I see evolution, which is what I'm looking for with with bands. And I want to see how you've progressed since the last time you put out an album. And the Chicago Reader has also said that Printer's Devil is your best album. But do you agree with that sentiment?
Thanks. I think so. Yeah. I think it. We definitely had kind of more of a plan going into this one, and like knew what we wanted it to sound like a bit more. And so it definitely feels like, for me, it feels like the most realized thing that we've made so far. Um, it's fun though. Like definitely. I mean, every time, at least in our experience, every time we've finished recording something, you immediately just have the urge to do it again. And so we we're looking forward to making the next album and hopefully building upon this some more and trying some new things. It's fun. Like you get to learn new things, at least for us, because it's different when you're like recording in your home studio or it's kind of a more fluid daily thing. But for us, we just haven't really done that. Like we kind of go into a studio and it's very much like a time, like a discrete set of time, like days that we're in there. And so eventually it'd be awesome to have a space where we could just record every day. But for now, we're really looking forward to that experience of, you know, writing the songs fully and then rehearsing them and then going back in the studio. That's how we approach this, Printer's Devil album, and it's how we'll go into it with the next one too.
Let's talk about the demoing process you had for this project. You went back to your childhood home that was sold, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was in Kentucky, it was the house I grew up in, and yeah, we had demoed out a few songs the previous winter up in Michigan, um, and then and this was before we moved into the house that we live in now. So we're lucky now because we can demo in our basement. But before, I was living in a tiny apartment. Dave was living with his parents, so we had to kind of get away to demo, and so went up to Michigan, and then that next summer 2018, we went down to Kentucky, and it was awesome to get to be in that house one last time.
Did you know it was getting sold before you started demoing?
Yeah, it was already sold. It had
Oh,
been sold that March, I think, and we were there in June, and I think they closed on it in September. It was I don't know why it took so long to go from like the sale to the closing. Whatever, real estate. I have no idea, but it was cool though. The house was like empty pretty much. There was like a little bit of furniture still left, but it was really weird and surreal to be in those rooms with no one there except us. And we actually got to meet the people who were moving in, so that was cool. It was like a young family, and yeah, it was just kind of like the end of a sentence in my life. So maybe a chapter actually, but uh, got to put a little period at the end of that sentence, so it was nice.
I'm sure like an entire wave of nostalgia just kind of came down upon you when you were back there, starting the process of Printer's Devil, right?
Kinda. It was like, I don't know if it was. I kind of had to force myself to feel a little nostalgic just because, like, I felt so comfortable there. Like, it was just a place I was so intimately familiar with and felt completely at home, obviously. So it didn't really sink in that, like, I wouldn't be there ever again. I kind of had to force myself to think about that. But it was nice for, like, our work. We came there with a job to do, and we got it done, felt very, safe, and we were able to be productive there. And it was nice to go somewhere where you'll be able to do what you set out to do.
With listening, you started with that song as like an expansive jam session, right? Like, what made you want to cut it down, or did it start out as this large like expanded jam, and then you cut it down, or like did you record it as like a 20+ minute session?
Oh, I think Printer's Devil is a song you're thinking of, because listening was kind of like a weird little country song that started on acoustic guitar. But the title track, Printer's Devil, which is it's kind of like on a loop. Um, it it definitely started out as more of an extended jam. It wasn't really. It's kind of, for me, it was more of like a meditation thing, because I'm literally just playing the same thing on guitar over and over and over, like three notes, then three more notes, then the same three notes, so back and forth. And then just kind of singing different words or sounds over it for a long time. So that's kind of how it started out, and then picked some words that I liked the most and felt had the most meaning to me, and then yeah, we just kind of arranged it so that it would be we'd be playing the same thing every night and have a little bit of structure to it. But I will say, I someday I would like to arrange it live so that we could play like an extended intro, because I do kind of wish we made it longer. But in the future, I think we'll probably try some things where we have like a longer song and just let that be on the album.
You should put a longer version of that as like a Bandcamp exclusive or something like
Totally.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we like don't have that, but we could probably go and make it at some point. It wouldn't be that hard because most of the songs on a loop, but we would just have to ask Dave to play a little more guitar and stuff, but to fill in the space. But that's a good idea. Someday we'll do that.
Because I made a playlist called Long Ass Songs on Spotify, and I want more stuff for the sequel.
Nice. I could definitely give you some suggestions. I think I did a
Do so.
radio show in college with long songs. It was
Me
fun.
too, actually.
Oh, really?
When I was in college, I had a show where I did a whole thing where it was songs longer than like 7 or 8 minutes, but I thought it was a disaster because some of the songs I picked maybe were too long, but I think it works perfectly for like a playlist, not like over on the radio. You know what I mean?
For sure. What was the longest song you chose?
It was Sister Ray, Velvet Underground, 17 minutes, 17+ minutes. Yeah,
Nice. That rules.
I
I
love that
think
song.
I think I played Impossible Soul by Sufjan Stevens on that radio show I did, which I remember it was right after it came out, and I like texted some of my friends. I'm like, I'm playing Impossible Soul on the radio tonight. Like, tune in, and no one really cared. But that song's
Yeah.
25 minutes long, so it's insane. But that was so awesome to do that, to have the power to play a 25-minute masterpiece on the radio. It's amazing.
You were actually a guest on my college radio show a couple of years ago.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
In person?
No, over the phone.
Oh,
It was right around
damn,
the
great.
time GN came out. Yeah.
Amazing. Sorry, I don't remember
No, it's okay.
our conversation exactly.
It's
Ay,
no,
ay,
it's
ay.
totally okay. Yeah, it's just
Time
we were talking
flies.
about college radio. I just wanted to remind you that we actually talked before. Which, anyway, yeah.
Amazing.
What?
Small world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And a lot has happened in the last couple of years anyway. And you've done
Yeah,
so many interviews, so there's no way you're gonna remember that.
that's
Um,
awesome.
yeah. So how do you feel like you've grown since the last album, since GN?
Um, I feel like I'm a more confident guitar player and singer, especially in the studio. Like before with GN, I kind of relied on using double tracking on my voice to not hide imperfections, but just kind of, it allows you to get a more perfect sound. Because you can like you can match if you're able to match your take really well, then it sounds just like a better take, but it's like too perfect almost. And so I wanted to try this time to just embrace my voice and like the flaws and, you know, all the weirdness of it and just sing with one take and turn it up and really put that at the front. And so I'm happy with how that came to sound. You know, I think it turned out pretty good. But I think all of us have just grown as people. Like we've really I think we've become better communicators on the road, and we're just, you know, we're good at checking in with each other and telling each other when there are issues, um, and communicating with, you know, anyone we need to solve problems, like venue staff, you know, anyone you encounter on tour. It's good to just feel confident, treat people with respect, but then also know that we have each other's backs. And I think we've grown closer as a band, and um, yeah, we're more confident out there. It's fun.
You know, going back to your Twitch show, I know you said you wanted to do, you know, some video game streaming, but what video games do you play generally that you would think about streaming?
I think I'm gonna stream Animal Crossing New Horizons, which is like the new hot game on the Switch. I played the original GameCube Animal Crossing a lot when I was a kid, and but this new game is like a whole new world. It's really cool. I think I could definitely give people a tour of my island, and there's lots of little things you can do, uh, like go to mystery islands, like I don't know, fish and stuff. It might be boring. I got to figure out ways to make it kind of like interesting and not mundane. Although the mundanity of Animal Crossing is kind of like the whole point, so might be nice. But then Dave plays Skyrim a lot, um, and I think I don't know. Dave doesn't talk on stage, and he doesn't really hang out that much after shows. And I think people through the Twitch show are getting to see like just how awesome it is to hang out with Dave. And so I feel like him streaming Skyrim would be really fun to just like see inside his brain a little bit, because it's like it's an awesome place, let me tell you. So I think that would be really sweet. Um, we'll see. Maybe maybe we are. Uh, I don't know. Maybe our expectations are out of whack. But then also Sean plays Rocket League a lot, and he plays with like friends of ours who are also in bands. And so we were thinking it could be cool to like set up tournaments with like musicians that people follow, and kind of have people play each other on teams and stuff like that, and like announce them and get people to tune in that way, and like have posters and like, you know, make it look like a sporting event. So kind of like an esports, like indie rock esports thing. So those are our three ideas for now. We'll see. I've never done anything like this, so I have no idea how it's going to go, but we'll give it a try.
Oh, I'm very excited. I am so excited for that.
Yeah, well, that's
Please
good.
do it.
Okay. Okay, we will.
So when's the next wave of Ratboys virtual tour?
Good question. I think we're doing a show today that I need to go get set up for here in a bit, but we have a Sunday afternoon show that we do, but then we've been doing the schedule where it's like 2 weeks on, 1 week off. So I think we'll take this next weekend off, um, and then we'll probably bring it back the weekend after. So like the end of May. I haven't looked at a calendar. I apologize. I don't know what the dates are, but um, we always announce it on Instagram and Twitter and stuff. So if you follow us on the social media, we will tell people with ample time to prepare.
Great. All right, Julia, thank you so much for stopping by My Little Underground. And where can people follow Ratboys on social media and Twitch and the like?
Totally, yeah. Thanks for having me, Peter. I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching the show. It really means a lot. Yeah, it's the show's on Twitch. It's which you don't have to download the app. You can just go to your browser and type in twitch.tv/watch Ratboys.
But don't do that
And
because it sucks.
yeah,
Watching it.
I would. It is
Yeah.
better on the app.
Yeah.
People talk to me on Twitter. They're like, "I'm old. I don't have Twitch."
Oh, right.
Whatever. But I would recommend downloading Twitch. It's a really cool app, and that way you can create a name and be in the chat with us, which is really fun to interact with everybody. So yeah, if you go to Twitch, our channel is called Watch Ratboys, and we're on there every so often. And yeah, our Instagram is Ratboys Band, and our Twitter as well is just at Ratboys Band. And I go on there probably way more than I should, but we are around, so we are, always love to talk to people. It's great to connect. So hopefully we'll see you out there somewhere on the web.
Yeah, absolutely. And Printer's
and hopefully
Devil.
somewhere
Go
in
ahead.
person before too long.
I was going to see you in New York. You were going to do Rough Trade, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure it's a good time.
The last time I saw you was at Union Pool. That was
Dude,
a great show.
that was really fun. That tour was awesome. Did you see Dags, who was on that show with us?
No, I think I walked in right when you were about to go on. Maybe
That's
the
fair.
end of the previous band that went before you. But we
Nice.
came in exactly when but great
They're
show.
like a math rock band from Italy. So good. But yeah, that show was awesome. So hopefully we'll get back to New York and, everywhere ASAP. We're just waiting, and we're not gonna force people to make a choice between their health and going out to a show. So when it becomes clear that it's safe to get out there, we'll be there as soon as we can.
Until then, you're on Twitch.
Yeah, man. Exactly.
Exactly. Printer's Devil streaming everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, or Bandcamp. Most importantly, Bandcamp. Thank you, Julia, once again, and good luck with the Ratboys virtual tour. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Yeah, maybe we'll see you in the chat today.
We will. You probably will. Maybe.
Sounds good, man. Thanks. Take it
Yep.
easy.